It is not the reveal, Rachel. You're crazy. I'm mad you think I do the reveal on Instagram Live. Keyboard in the back like a battle axe. Y'all got jokey jokes today?
If I play doesn't need a report on my phone, does that interfere?
What?
If I play doesn't need a report on my phone?
Use AirPods. Got Perk coming on. Big bro, what's good, man?
What's up, my brother? You all right?
I'm chilling, man. I actually just got in from a workout, so I'm feeling real good, real relaxed, and real accomplished right now. How's everything on your end?
Man, I'm good, man. You gonna have me being motivated to go get it in.
Yo, I mean, before we get into it, I tell you this all the time, but I just wanted to, I want to give the people a little background information in regards to how we connected. So we've been following each other. We got connected on Twitter, and then I reached out, and you've just always been like a real OG. I know I tell you this all the time, but I want to tell the people on the air, you've just been real OG about the whole situation, how you approached my upcoming in this industry, and you being, a star in the game now. I mentioned how guys like Chris Haynes has been really receptive to me. Chris Haynes, Rashad, Chris Broussard is like another OG. Ryan Hollins as well. I just wanted to start off with that and say I appreciate just what you've just been to me as like our relationship starts to build. I really appreciate you.
Oh man, I appreciate you, man. And see what it is that we all need each other, man. And
Right.
especially, as brothers, man, there's no need to hate. We gotta spread the wealth, and we all learning every day.
Right.
From a standpoint, you could never never stop learning.
Right.
And open ears to a lot of conversation. I follow you. I see a lot of dimes you be dropping. And
Yeah.
that's what it's about, man. It's all about getting better with each other and uplifting each other and not hating or trying to knock the next man on nah, I don't want him to get ahead. You know what I'm saying? Nah, we all should get to the same goal and trying to meet at the mountaintop. Because like, this not easy. You know what I mean? You gotta have time. You gotta speak your mind.
Right.
But also got to give flowers, and then you gotta be able to go against the critics. So I put man on your journey because I'm watching you, man, and there's no shortcuts, and I love that about you.
Right, and that's one of the things you told me, and when our first phone conversation, you were like, "There's no shortcuts. Essentially, what's gonna help you stand out is you gotta have an opinion. You gotta stand on what you say, and you gotta speak your truth. Like, and whatever it is, have an opinion about it and stand on that. Like, don't let everything else fall to you from being who you are, and just be authentic."
Well, see, you can't straddle the fence, man. You can't straddle the fence. And a lot of the times when I go on shows, whether it's First Take, whether it's Who Strings, whatever the case may be, you got to pick a side. Basically, it's fate. And see, this is the problem I have with a lot of people. So, for example, say it's a question come about where they say who, like a couple of weeks ago, it was like, oh, who you taking, James or Steph Curry? And I said, I'm taking James. Well, there's no knock on Steph Curry greatness. It's just I prefer to drink Sprite.
Right.
You might like Coke, man. I just like to drink Sprite, dog. That's just what it is. But people, if you choose another person or another player, that you're hating on the next man. And that's not the case, because I'm a fan of both of them guys. Like, they're elite players, but
Right.
people stand there and you can't straddle the fence.
Right. So to start off with our segment here, I want to ask you this because you're an NBA champion in 2008. You guys destroyed my Lakers. I'm a long life Laker fan. And then in 2010, you guys didn't get to run it back because in 09, KG got hurt and you guys lost to the Magic in the playoffs. But in 2010, the rematch was on and the Lakers ended up winning in 7. But a lot has been made that you were the missing piece that didn't play in the 7th game, that if you played, they feel like things would have turned out differently like they did in 08. What do you say to that?
Man, you know what? I can't really agree with that, man, because you don't know what would have happened in a game 7. And
right.
when you back and look, Rasheed Wallace, Big Baby, they played a hell of a game, man. Both of them played great basketball. But when I retract that game in my mind, I'm watching everybody play. Guys were struggling, tired. It's the last game of the season.
Right.
They are fired up. And to be honest, I don't know if anybody would have been able to stop Kobe. Now, I tell you that he shot, I think it was 6 for 24 from the field. You don't understand, he had 15 rebounds.
Rebounds, right.
So he had 15 boards, and I really, to this day, I don't think no one was going to get in his way of willing that team to victory. I just went back, I rewatched that game so much more than I watched when we won it in 2008.
Yeah.
And now since the great Kobe has passed, shit, to be honest with you, I wouldn't change nothing, man. I would give him that title and them roses in a heartbeat, dog. So I don't even think about it no more. I like to say, you know what? I was there to witness Kobe last championship. Now that we sitting on this side, unfortunately, but you never know. But I will tell you this. That's why I always like to tell people about how NBA is a team sport, which people obviously know. But when you talk about a team sport, you can't, everyone is tied on one string. You see what I'm saying? So when you walk in the arena, I starting 5, never lost a playoff game when healthy. Right. But we were all tied on the string. If KG went to help without saying something, I knew to have his back. And Ray knew to have my back, and we, et cetera, et cetera. But when you break that in, no matter how much mental toughness you have, you still, mindset is like, man, I got Big Baby right here, but I ain't got Perk. See, me and Perk on a different page than me and Rasheed would be on. You see what I'm saying? Right. But, man, the Lakers earned that game because we was up 14 points to start the 4th quarter.
Yeah, yeah.
So, like, I can't say I would have made a big difference, but could have won that game. But I can't lie, man. The way Kobe and Artest, the way that they played and willed their team to victory, I can't do nothing but give them praise.
I respect that. I don't know how many guys would say, you know, you being, and you're not just like a role player, you were the starting center for the Celtics. So you were like a foundational piece. I remember when my Lakers lost to your Celtics in 08, they were saying that Paul Gasol wouldn't want to see you in a dark alley. All that stuff was going on because of how the mental toughness and the physicality that you brought to that team. But I mean, that's humble of you to say that you wouldn't, because I make excuses all the time for my Lakers that in 08, Bynum wasn't healthy for that series and Bynum didn't play. I was like, well, maybe if Bynum played, that series turns out differently. But again,
I will tell you this. To answer all those questions, I did go to Oklahoma City, and we did get through Bynum and Gasol. So I was.
That was our last run. I remember that.
Yeah, I was able to handle both of them, me and Serge. So, you know, at the end of the day, I ain't gonna lie, man. There was some great battles, and it was fun just to be a part of that rival. You know what I'm saying? Celtic-Laker rival. You talking about one of the greatest rivals in sports history. Just to be a part of that, the energy level that was going on not only in the Staples Center, in the Garden. You know, all the participation, the media, all the legends, man. Just the whole thing behind it, and to be a part of it. See, that's the thing people don't understand. Like, your mindset, you can't get caught up in the moment. Like, first you're already in the finals. Right. But then you're it's the Lakers and Celtics. Like, you
Right.
can't get caught up in that moment because your ultimate goal is to win the championship.
Right. Right. That's true. You mentioned KG. Now, looking from the outside, everyone looks at KG and his fierce competition and like how he a lot of times he could rub people the wrong way depending whose side of the team you're on, right?
Right.
What is it like playing with KG? Is he really this intense 24 hours, 7 days a week? That's what you get all the time from KG?
Nah. So outside of basketball, you know what? It's two guys that I play with that got an on and off switch. It's KG and Russ, right? So KG is a guy that loves to have fun, big dance, and always want to dance outside and have fun and laugh, joke, hee, ha, ha, right?
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, the day of a game, morning of a shoot around, it's like a light switch cut on where it's just like, man, who is this guy? Like, who is dude, man? This ain't the same dude that we was just on the plane with. Like,
right.
Turns it on so quickly where you like, man, let me tell you something. When we was in the locker room and KG, like, he demanded silence. He demanded focus. So he didn't want to hear your music playing through your headphones, right? He didn't want all those distractions. If KG was in the training room, I was in the locker room. If he was in the locker room, I was somewhere out of his sight because I didn't be around him because he was ready to get into it with you. And his favorite line was, hey, it's time to go beat some hyenas. But walking into the arena, dog, right? You always, especially on the road, you always had this sense of security because you know you got KG with you.
He was on your team, right?
Yeah, oh, it's like that, like, mess with me if you want. I got the big ticket. And he put the same energy on the road, at home, whether he played good, whether he played bad. So, you know, in my eyes, man, he was the best teammate I ever had. Got a heart of gold, was sacrifice. He put himself last to Paul and Ray. He outside of that, he did things like, you know, before the season, all the guys that were interning in the organization, he bought them custom-made suits. You know, 5 custom-made suits apiece. We won a championship. He bought everyone in the organization Rolex watches except his players. You know, that's the thing. He's that stuff on the plane. Like, that's who he was, man. So he is the best teammate that I ever had, and my big brother.
You kind of led on to where I wanted to go next. You said he's the best teammate you've ever had, and you've had some great teammates. You played with LeBron, you played with Russ and KD. Would you say KG is the best leader you've had?
Yeah, he is. And Braun is right there. Before us vocally, like, and KG, see, Braun leads by example. Braun is a guy that gets to the gym at 5 in the morning. He's there first. He's gonna go through a full practice. He's gonna work out afterwards. He go eat in the meal room, get treatment, go shoot a commercial. Then he back to the gym. You see Braun, we had a 5-star steakhouse. He getting he getting ice cream on his body. But KG vocally was that guy. I just remember a story like doing training camp, man. When we first had training camp in 2008, he came in into the film session before we started practice, and he was like, look, we gonna run this offense through Paul and Ray. If y'all need me, I'm gonna be here, but I'm third. I'm gonna anchor this defense, me and Perk. And right there, he set the tone. That's what true leaders do, because everybody in their right mind knew that KG was the best player on that team.
Right.
He took a back seat to them. So sacrificing, yes, he is the best. He was the best leader for us in all areas, just the way he led vocally and everything.
Respect that. Last week, I got on the phone with you and we were talking about just the NBA season coming back. But a focal point specifically that I've been seeing, and I asked you this when I got on the phone with you, I was like, when are you heading down to the bubble? And you told me you were going down there later for like the conference finals.
Right.
But what's been happening ever since, the players got down to the bubble, there's been a lot of, talking about the food, and the rooms aren't, I guess, as up to par with what the guys' expectations were. But your rookie of the year, Ja Morant, the other day made a statement saying the food's fine. I'm not a silver spoon guy. Like he's just like, does that solidify Ja Morant as what we all think he is, as this alpha dog who's just built different? And do you have a problem with the guys complaining about like the meals that they're getting and the food and such?
See, Ja Morant, man, his mindset is different. You know what I'm saying? Much props to his parents. His daddy played a huge role, was a teammate of Ray Allen, sacrificed his career to after high school to raise his son, and did a hell of a job. Right. And a lot of guys be preaching they got it out the mud, and you know what I'm saying, they come from this and they come from that, and then all of a sudden they get to the league and forget about it, right? They get accustomed to the Ritz Carlton. They get accustomed to the Royce trucks, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But you get down to the bubble, and I'm seeing all the complaining. I'm like, man, it's like, you know what I'm saying, you working for, $1 million law firm, and they send you on the road for a conference, and you get off the plane, and they got you a rental car that's an S63, but because it ain't a Bentley. Like, what we talking about here? You know what I'm saying? Like, to the day, man, they got a lot of people out here, man, that, don't have these opportunities, especially during this pandemic, where people that lost their jobs, and people got to catch buses to work or hitch rides to work or to wherever they be. And that's the thing, man. So, I applaud guys like Ja Morant, DeMar Carroll, who came out and spoke on it. Patrick Beverly, who knows. See, Patrick
Beverly, what you make it.
He played overseas, though. So his mindset different. So, you know what I'm saying? So he had to go through the grind. And it just frustrating when you see guys complaining to that level. And I'm like, come on, man, like 80% of us came from nothing. Like these days, like, come on, man, y'all. Now all of a sudden, we see guys out here, they fishing, they drinking mojitos, they you know what I'm saying? It's gonna get better. The thing that they had to understand is it's a process. And with us having the best commissioner in sports, I always say Adam Silver is a players commissioner. He go listen to you. The other day they posted somebody was eating that had got something delivered from a five-star steakhouse. You know what I'm saying? It's about to get better, man. I'm telling you, out here in way worse situations.
And to those people who say Zion has made enough of a case to be rookie of the year, you say what? Because I don't agree with it. I feel like you've got to have a bigger body of work. Even though Zion's been phenomenal in the games that he's played, he's averaging like 24, 25, and he's clearly made an impact on the team. But Ja's been doing this since training camp all the way up to having them in the 8th spot now.
Hey, man, listen, the rookie of the year is signed, sealed, and delivered. Right. Ja Morant. You know what I'm saying? Listen, Zion is box office, and so is Ja Morant. People just didn't know about him. But he must see TV too. And like I said before, when you look at Ja, he's a combination of Russell Westbrook for us with his athleticism. He got handles a lesser than like a Kyrie Irving, because he got that ball on the string. And to me, he dropped dimes like a Rajon Rondo. So I'm looking at him, he must see TV. And next year, I'm pretty sure he'll be on television a lot. But now when you look at Zion, he's lived up to the hype and more. Now, I tell you, it's been a sample size of 19 games, but Zion is a beast. You know what I'm saying? But there's no way in hell that he could catch Ja Morant for rookie of the year. Because people like, well, what if he go down to the bubble, and what if he go do this? And I'm like, what you think, Ja just go let off the gas? That's a straight killer.
They're fighting for a playoff spot.
Yeah. You remember right before the pandemic, they went on a 5-game losing streak, and everybody was talking about him and saying, "Ja, man, what's going on?" And he was like, "Stop panicking." Next thing you know, they ran off 5 in a row.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And then I see somebody in the comments say, yeah, Ja generational, but he averaged 17 points. See, but that's people who get caught up in the stats and don't watch the game and see his effect on the game. I'm watching leadership skills. Yeah, he had 17 points, but he also shooting about 50% from the field, which is extremely high for a point guard. Matter of fact, that's excellent for a point guard. So what that goes to show me is that, man, you know, it's crazy because we have to teach so many people that stats, yeah, it tells some of the story, but you got to actually order the league pass and watch it and watch the eye test. Watch this guy leading and saying, rotate here, rotate there, and lead the victory and giving them that dog in everybody. I never seen a young guy that brought that type of flavor in a long time.
You're preaching my sermon right now, Perk. I'm a big advocate of numbers don't tell the whole story. There are circumstances that could lead you to have better numbers than somebody else, but doesn't necessarily make you better than that player. But again, people don't realize the Grizzlies are fresh off of picking number 2. They weren't a very good team, right? And they're the same team coming back with a rookie point guard that has them in prime position. If not for the bubble, if not for the pandemic, they'd probably run away with that 8th seed, even though they had the hardest schedule remaining. But Ja, like you said, they were coming off 5 wins, including my Lakers and Memphis. So they were just starting to like pick it back up because Zion and them boys was coming. Dame and the Blazers are right behind. You know what I'm saying? So Ja hasn't disappointed at all. And you say Ja's box office and Zion is clearly box office. Now I'm gonna put you on the spot here. I don't think you could go wrong. But if you could pick one to start your franchise, who are you going with, Ja or Zion?
I'm going with Ja Morant, and here's why. Right now, when you look into, no disrespect to Zion, Zion is going to sell out the stadium, but Ja Morant is the one that's going to win you games. Ja Morant is the one that's is the one that you could have for a long. What I'm saying is, Ja Morant is a guy that you build around because it's a guard-driven league, right? We don't know the status as far as the health-wise of Zion, right? Even in his first year, we have too many concerns. Can he keep his weight down, right? How is his body going to hold up? This, that, and the other. We don't have them concerns about Ja. You know what I'm saying? Like, we know what he's capable of doing. He's played 59 games as a rookie already. And probably was going to finish off strong. I'm not knocking Zion, but I'm looking at Ja. Ja don't even have the same team that Zion have. The Pelicans got a hell of a squad.
True.
Now, the Grizzlies do have some nice pieces. I love Dylan Brooks. I think Big Valanciunas down low is a beast. But, they still have a few other slots that they could fill in. But me personally, I said this at the draft. I said I wouldn't have been mad at the Pelicans if they would have took Ja Morant number 1. At the time, the world would have been mad because they didn't know really who Ja Morant was. But I've been watching this kid since he was, at Murray State putting in work. I love that underdog story, like Dame Lillard. You know what I'm saying? Think about it. Dame Lillard. Look at where he's been, Portland, for his whole career, doing big things over there. So I'm looking at Ja Morant. I'm like, man, he the head of the snake, dog. I gotta have him.
So who gets the A spot, Perk? Who ends up? Because from what I understand, if it's close enough to within like 2 to 3 games, there's 2 playing games. There's 4. So that's 4. So then
that's when if I'm Memphis, I'm pissed off, right? Because that ain't right. So
that's not fair.
All the 9th seed have to do is be within 4 games of the 8th seed, and they do the play-in. Well, you look at the Pelicans' schedule, they got the easiest schedule out of anybody at the bubble.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And the Memphis got the hardest.
That's the hardest schedule. Yeah.
So, with that being said, I already know that them two probably go see each other, even though it's hard for me to count out Dame Dollar and CJ because they one of my favorite backcourts. But I think with them losing Trevor Ariza, because they need that wing lockdown defender. Yes, they got Melo who could give them buckets, but they need defense. You know what I'm saying? Especially battling in the West. But I'm looking at the Pelicans, man, and I'm like, it's set up for them to get the 8th spot. You're looking at J.J. Redick, never missed the playoffs, a knockdown shooter. You're looking at Brandon Ingram, a first-time All-Star, one of the most prolific scorers in the league. Then you got Hart. You got a guy like E'Twaun Moore who gives you 15 to 20 points.
A veteran.
Drew Holiday, one of the most underrated players in the league.
Period.
Like, give you 30 and strap you up on the other end. And then Lonzo Ball finally living up to LeVar Ball. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, man, the Pelicans, although I think Memphis go fight hard, I just think it's set up for the Pelicans to get the 8th spot.
Yeah, and then you get LeBron and Zion in round 1. I mean, the Lakers will spank them, but it'll be must watch. It'll be must watch. So last week you've been making claims and saying that Jamal Crawford needs to be on a basketball team. You've been reminding everybody how his last game he put 51 up, and that it's ridiculous that he doesn't have a job and he finally gets on with the Brooklyn Nets. But the remark that stuck out to me, I think you made this remark on TV last week. You said that Jamal Crawford is the best 6th man of all time.
In my opinion.
So where do you? Because I'm thinking Lou Will and Jamal are right there, but the one that clicked the most was Manu Ginobili. Do you not factor him in at all, or do you just think Jamal's been the better 6th man for the duration of his career?
Well, I just think over the longer period of time and what Jamal has done. Now, don't get it wrong. Like, Manu has been a star in his role for as the 6th man coming in off the bench for us with the Spurs. Well, I'm talking about Jamal Crawford everywhere that he goes, and he embraced that 6th man role. Like, when you think of 6th man, keep it real. You had to really think about Manu, because you don't really consider him a 6th man. You like he really could have started, but his role. But when you think about Jamal Crawford, end of the year award, a guy who comes in instantly off the bench and is going to give you work. You can't go wrong. But this is the thing, back to our original conversation. I can't be mad at you if you pick Manu because you got a great argument. Right? I can't be mad at another person for picking Lou Will. But a person can't judge me for picking Jamal Crawford because if you line up their resumes, besides Manu winning championships because he had the greatest power forward of all time, but besides individual accolades and looking at what they've done individually, you can't go wrong with either one of those guys, in my opinion. I just like I just know with JC, he had more in his bag than all those other guys. Offensively, think about it. He probably had one of the best handles we ever seen.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? Offensively, he was a guy that when he got going, we was like, man, how can we stop him? It really wasn't stopping. When he got going, he got going. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I just remember more of those. He was the king of 4-point plays, dog.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of guys who come off the bench, Rondo is a player that's been, a solid vet this year for the Lakers and coming off the bench, but he's now gone for 6 to 8 weeks. Now, I don't think it's a big deal as everyone is making out to be, not because Rondo's not going to be playing, but because 6 weeks from now is like maybe first round series against whoever that 8th seed is. So by the time the Lakers really get to the Clippers or even further to the finals against the Bucks, or the team that I want to touch on, you say you think is going to be there, is the Celtics. I want to kind of get into that a little later. I don't think Rondo right now is a big loss because, one, they're going to start doing the scrimmage games, and then they're going to get into the regular season on the 30th, and then that's going to take about 2 weeks until the playoffs come. So do you think it's as big of a deal that Rondo will be out 6 to 8 months for the Lakers championship hopes?
No, I don't. And to be honest, guess what? The thing about Rondo is that he's an all-in guy. and he's a leader. He's a veteran leader. We talking about a guy, 16 years in? So at the end of the day, he's going to be at the front of the bench, coaching guys up. And then people forget about a champ like Quinn Cook. And then people disrespects Dion Waiters daily, which I understand how. Like, yes, I understand whatever happened in Miami off the court was a problem. But when Dion Waiters steps inside those lines, he's a problem.
Right.
Problem. He could create for himself and he could create for others. But then you as a Laker fan, we all know who y'all want to see. The unsung hero. Alcide.
The GOAT.
He is so underrated. He's a dog. I love what he brings offensively and defensively. And I just think they're so deep that they're going to find a way. Like, yes, they'll miss Rondo because his IQ and everything else. But when you talk about the depth that they have and the guys that got Dion Waiters got something to prove.
Right.
R. Smith got something to prove. We going a little further. Dwight Howard got something to prove. You got 3 veteran guys that all got something to prove to the world and all got a unique skill set in their own way. You look at Dwight Howard, he's still one of the most athletic big men in the league in year 16.
Yeah.
Right?
He's been playing excellent.
Yes. Then you look at Dion Waiters, people like, man, Dion can't hoop. I'm like, what? Dion is still in his prime. You know, your prime NBA is from the age of 27 to 33. What are y'all talking about? Did I miss something here? Did you know, sample size when he did play for Miami this past season, he balled out? Tripping, right? And then looking at JR, people like, man, JR, I'm like, listen, one thing about JR, he got a unique skill set. You know what that is? Shoot down basketball.
Right.
You cannot change that. I don't give a damn how you try. You can't change it. He can shoot that till he's 65.
Right.
And even if he don't shoot it, even with him and Danny Green on the court, it opens up the paint for Braun and AD because they gonna be scared or hesitant to leave those guys because they know.
Yeah. And JR has championship experience that people seem to forget. Like, he wasn't just on the team with the Cavs as a player who made, you know, one of the mistakes that people can never get over of forgetting what the score was and how much time was left on the clock. But that 2016 championship, JR was a big part of that. He played great in that series. So people just got to remember that.
They be tripping, man. They only remember that last one, you know, fluke in game 1 that he had that, you know, that mistake. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, people don't understand. Guess what? Before then, when we went 7 games with the Indiana Pacers, Rodney Hood was starting in front of JR. What T. Lue had to do in game 7. Hey, Hood, come sit down, man. I got to put JR in this game. And what JR did, had like 21.
Right.
I'm trying to tell people about people being battle tested and people, you know, like not afraid of the moment. JR is not afraid of the moment, but he gonna show people. I can't wait.
Do you have the Lakers coming out west, or do you have the Clippers?
Man, listen, to be honest, I get a slight edge to the Lakers, all because they have the best duo in AD and LeBron. But, man, I ain't going to lie. I'm scared of Russell Westbrook and James Harden. I think with this style of play, this AAU-type platform, the Rockets are going to hit the ground running. And as a hooper, it takes big men a long time to get in basketball shape. So with the pace they're going to be playing at, and with James Harden losing 20 pounds, I said to myself, I'm like, okay, James Harden losing 20 pounds. We used to knowing James to go and kick it with Lil Baby and you know, when he have off time, but man, he took advantage of this pandemic. So I'm like, I'm kind of on edge. And with the Clippers, I can't never count out Kawhi and go against, you know, Doc and T. Lue and Sam Cassell.
Your boy Kawhi Jordan.
I just don't trust PG yet. But he gets reasons why I shouldn't trust him. That's the only thing.
So you don't trust PG as far as his health, or is it the moment that you haven't seen him do it yet?
I haven't seen him deliver in the moment, man. Like, I just remember his 2 seasons ago when he was healthy. And I said this on the jump today. They played the Utah Jazz in the game 6, close. And Russ went for 46, I think it was. PG was 2 for 16, man, with points. Like, it's just, you know, my thing is, in order for the Clippers to win, he has to do what Siakam did last year for the Raptors. And people don't give Siakam a lot of credit, but Siakam was on one last year, man. He was on one.
And I know you said even you would take Siakam right now over PG.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, I agree.
I would. I mean, and it's no knock on PG. See, that's the thing. People think because you take one player over the other that you're dissing PG. No, PG is still PG. He's a stud. Right. But when I'm talking about right now, a guy that went to the finals and showed me that he had no fear and produced, I'm looking at Siakam, I'm like, man, not only did you deliver in the finals, you won most improved last year, then you came back this year as the #1 option on your team and made the All-Star game as an All-Star starter, averaging 24-7, and Toronto is in a better position record-wise than what they was last year, and they Kawhi and Danny Green.
Yeah, no one saw that. Yeah, that's a big point. So you got the Lakers out west, even though you feel like Houston is a legitimate threat that could maybe knock them off, especially if the Lakers come around sleeping early. That could be really bad. But out east, now you got Boston, while everybody and their mama thinks Giannis and the Bucks are the favorites to come out east. Is there a particular reason you got them Celtics coming out of the Eastern Conference?
To be honest, it was kind of hard for me to go against Toronto. I honestly think that whoever wins, because it's going to be Toronto and the Celtics in the second round. Whoever wins that series is coming out of the East. I trust Giannis. Wow. Listen, I think Milwaukee got a hell of a team. I just don't think that Chris Middleton is a certified Robin. I just don't. If right now, if I ask you, who you taking? Jason Tatum and Kemba or Giannis and Middleton? Who you taking?
Oh, I like Jason Tatum and Kemba. Tatum he's got next. Tatum's got next.
Okay. If I ask you, who you taking? Kyle Lowry and Siakam or Giannis and Middleton?
I would say Lowry and Siakam because Lowry has done it. He's shown me his championship pedigree.
And that's why I'm at with it. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they got to have it. And then, so what people don't understand is, yes, we seen this same story. We watched the same movie before. We watched Milwaukee play excellent basketball, lost to the Celtics 2 years ago, lost to Toronto. So we seen this where they dominate the regular season and all of us get to the postseason and they can't get it done.
Yeah, I mean, even though there was a list that came out this week, I think Bleacher Report put a list where Middleton was ranked the 10th best player in the NBA and Russ was like 22. I honestly thought it was a joke, but I guess people think highly of Middleton, which should. Go ahead.
You want me to tell you what it is?
Yeah.
What it is that people don't like Russell Westbrook. The media don't, because he don't give interviews and he disrespects certain media people that disrespects him. So they don't like him. You see what I'm saying? So whoever running the Bleacher Report app probably tried to ask Russ for an interview and he told them no.
He said no?
Yeah, and so they disrespected him because nowhere in his right mind is Russell Westbrook 22nd right now in the league. Listen, in my opinion, I honestly believe, and hear me out on this, I honestly believe this season Russ was playing the best basketball that I've ever seen him play. And let me tell you why. Yes, he averaged a triple-double for 3 years. Yes, he won the MVP. But right now, he's averaging almost 28 points, 8 assists, 7 rebounds. But I haven't seen him play this under control like he has. Also, he's shooting a career high at 47%. Why? A lot of credit to D'Antoni and a lot of credit to Daryl Morey for trading Clint Capella because Russ has never seen this much space. You know what else? Since they traded, when they traded Clint Capella in January, right? Russell Westbrook did something in 12 games. Guess what he done? He had 272 points in the paint. The last person to do that was Shaquille O'Neal.
Dominant. That's a dominant stretch.
That's what
and he's doing this without even being the main ball handler. Like James Harden handles the ball majority of the time. So the fact that he's able to still produce like this, it shows a lot. And I just couldn't believe that they would even have him outside of the top 10 at this point.
Because you remember last year he took a backseat to PG and let PG have the this the thing I don't like about people is that they disrespect Russ, right? But all players that have played with Russ
love him.
Had hell of a seasons.
Right.
Paul George had his best season playing with Russell Westbrook last year.
Right.
And Russ took a back seat where he struggled, but he was like, you know what, down the stretch, we gonna go to PG. I ain't tripping. KD, 4-time scoring champion with Russell Westbrook.
Right.
James Harden still averaging, 34, 35 points with Westbrook. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Does Giannis repeat as MVP, or is the king gets his throne back? Because I know you said something, and he texted you telling you that he was coming back for his throne, and he's come out and had an incredible season. I think he's the MVP, but Giannis seems to be the favorite. What do you think? Who do you think should win the MVP this year?
See, Giannis is the media's MVP. The players' MVP is LeBron. You heard what Dame Lillard said.
Dame, yeah, he said that. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. See, players respect differently. Players look at shit totally different than what media people do. You know what I'm saying? They get caught up in the PR and all this. Well, I'm looking at it like Bron never had a 20-10 season in his career. And right now he's doing that. He's like, and they keep talking about year 17. I ain't even talking about that. The man is flat out balling.
Right.
He cooking. And they was just about to catch the Bucks for the best record in the league. They was only to have games back. They're at the top of the West. To me, I'm looking at it like when Jordan was in the East, he could have won the MVP. But Malone won it in the West. Right. That's how I'm looking at it right now with Braun. You know what I'm saying? Braun in that Western Conference, and he got them at the top. That's just how I feel.
I agree. And being a Laker fan, like, this is not even about that specifically. I watch every game, every minute, every quarter of the Lakers games. The difference that the Lakers team becomes when LeBron is off of the court, it is like, and that's what scares me, like going into the playoffs. I'm like, I hope the other guys, the veterans, like the JRs and the Deons and AD even turns it up another notch, because when LeBron's off the court, the Lakers don't look dominant. They don't look great.
You know what the numbers are, right?
I know it's the plus minus is way below. I know.
But not even that. Offensively, when Braun is off the court, the Lakers rank 29th in the league. When he's on the court, they rank second. Like, okay, you take Giannis off the Milwaukee Bucks team, they still might be a 5th seed in the East.
Right.
Take Braun off the Lakers, where would they be at?
People say that it's the Pelicans again. It's AD's Pelicans.
Okay. All right.
It is. I know we're fresh off of the last. Only got a couple more questions I want to ask you. We're off of the Last Dance. And this has been a big thing with The Last Dance. People talking about Jordan and the GOAT conversation. You've been very vocal of saying, again, it's not disrespect to Michael Jordan, but I'm riding with LeBron. And that people don't like to hear that, especially because it's like Jordan's his legend is unfathomable. People don't like it to be touched. But people like me who think outside the box, I'm looking at it like, yeah, Jordan's a better scorer, this and that. But I feel like LeBron brings more as far as like the team aspect to the court. Do you agree with that, or do you just think LeBron has just been too dominant and has had the better career?
Well, here it is, right? And it's no disrespect to MJ because my closet is full of Jordans, right? I respect MJ. I think, he's number 2 on my list, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's not an individual sport like boxing or tennis or golf where you have to do it individually, right? Like,
right.
Jordan had the greatest number 2 of all time in Scottie Pippen, period. You can't say Shaq and Kobe because neither
both ones
number 2, right?
Right.
So when I'm looking at this, I'm like, when Jordan was getting cut in high school, LeBron James was on the face of Sports Illustrated at the age of 16, being called the chosen one. Now, here's where I'm going with this, right? He was being called the chosen one. You name it. Had that amount of pressure on him and succeeded expectations since the age of 16 and to now. So that's like almost 20 years that he's exceeded expectations. No one could say that LeBron James didn't live up to expectations. You can't say that.
Right.
Since the age of 16 and for 17 straight years, he's dominated. Period, point blank. He's probably going to finish number 1 all-time scorer.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to finish with 15,000 assists, top 5. He's going to finish with 10,000 rebounds. So he's going to finish with 30,000, 10,000, 10,000. Just think about that, right?
Yeah.
All right. Then people talk about, he's 3-6 in the finals. First of all, he spent over 50% of his career in the
final.
Do you know how hard that is?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So he went to the finals 9 times. I'm not knocking that he lost, whatever, but go back and look. People want to bring up the one Dallas Mavericks series. Who gives a damn? Go bring up the ones against Golden State when he was averaging 33, 12, and 14, but he just ain't have no help.
No help. In the first finals, they had no business being there in 07 against the Spurs. He carried them past the Pistons, who were the favorites to be in the finals. LeBron had no business being there. So for me, that's like a draw. That's a wash. Like, they were supposed to lose to the Spurs. They had one of the best teams ever.
Period. And that's what I'm saying, man. But I'm not tripping on people who think that MJ's they go. He can be, and I'm okay with that. Because if I go play dominoes with my great uncles, they'll argue me down that Kareem is the GOAT or Bill Russell. You know what I'm saying? Just because somebody is your GOAT, you cannot knock them because you think something totally different. I asked the question, who's the best all-around player the game has ever saw? People said LeBron James. Okay, thank you. He's my GOAT.
Right. I mean, LeBron just making it to 8 straight finals. I don't think people realize how hard that is. Like, after 3, Jordan decided he needed to get away from the game for whatever reasons. It may not even have been about basketball, but just to show you, to get there 8 consecutive years, that means you have a higher percentage to win because you're in the game. You're in that series where anything could happen. Now, he's faced some of the greatest teams ever. The 2014 Spurs, the KD's Warriors. Come on, we didn't expect.
He also, guess what? He also got the greatest comeback in finals history, which made it the greatest championship in NBA history, which one of the greatest championships in sports history. Right. Nobody ever came back down 3-1 against a 73-9 team. They were 73-9. They were saying this was the best team of all time. 73-9, you down 3-1, and you walk them down like you coming down that fourth leg of a track meet, or the 4x4. So at the end of the day, look, man, people can say what they want. I watched this man, and that's what it is.
Yeah, and the previous year, when they got to the finals with the Warriors, when the Warriors won their first, LeBron was out there literally alone. Kyrie Irving got hurt in game 1. Kevin Love didn't play at all. And they took him to 6 games. Hey, I've been big on saying if they had both guys, I think LeBron pulls this off.
Hey, and guess what? I was right there. I see they be having jokes. I was right there averaging 2,500 claps a game because I had on the bench.
Right. Yo, Perk, you guys were talking about this on Twitter. I'm going to let you go. You guys were talking about this on Twitter about dominoes. When we getting this domino game in? Because I'm Haitian, brother. We dominoes is our thing.
Hey, man, look, that's what I do before basketball, man. I put the dots on them things. You know what I'm saying?
You never lost, I heard, to a West Coast cat?
Huh?
You never lost to anybody out West, I heard?
Nah, never. Russ. I didn't beat Russ. I didn't beat Russ and his old man. I didn't beat Russ and all the homies in the hood. all the homies from Inglewood. I haven't lost, period.
Right. Well, when you and Baron Davis, I told Baron we got to get a game going. And he was like, last time he played with Haitians, they were smacking dominoes out of his hand. But I'm more civilized than that. We got to get a game going, and we'll do that soon. But, yo, I appreciate you coming in, big bro. This means a lot.
Thank you, man.
This means a lot, bro. We'll be in touch, and I hope you have a blessed rest of your day, man.
You too, my brother.
Peace.